What's up, everybody? This is the Booch, and welcome to the latest installment of the WWE 2K25 Showcase Journey. Now, this time around, we're doing something a little different, because obviously, the last few Bloodline matches we played were actual matches that took place at certain places, at certain times, on certain pay-per-views that the majority of us remember. Well, apparently, Peter Maivia is now coming into the fray, and apparently we're going to be settling a rivalry he had with George the Animal Steele, but it's not going to be on the actual event that took place. It's going to be on a random arena thing that they set up. And speaking of Peter Maivia, before we jump into this, there was one thing I forgot to mention during the Rocky Maivia thing last week, and that was I talked about how The Rock faced off against Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and John Cena, and all that fun stuff. But there was one other thing that was mentioned during that promo segment that caught my attention. It also corresponds with something that was mentioned during the Kevin Hart roast, which I haven't seen the whole thing. I've only seen reels and bits and pieces on the internet, so I feel like I've seen enough of it, but I haven't watched the whole thing in its entirety. But I do remember they mentioned something that the video game mentioned that a lot of other people mentioned as well. They talked about how The Rock is a third-generation superstar, and they said because his father was a wrestler and his grandfather was a wrestler. Now, what's interesting about this showcase is they completely skip over who his father was. They just mention his dad was a wrestler and go straight to the grandfather and the High Chief Peter Maivia and drone on and on about him. They completely ignore Soul Man Rocky Johnson. And that's another interesting thing because Kevin Hart made a joke about how a lot of people don't even know that The Rock is half black. And he said, you know who else doesn't know? Dwayne doesn't know. And they talk about how he does so many things for the Samoan culture, he very seldom says anything or mentions anything about the black side of his heritage. And that's true, because Rocky Johnson obviously was a black man who married Peter Maivia's daughter, and that's how The Rock got into the Samoan family. So he's Samoan on his mother's side, and he's black on his father's side. And that's been an ongoing debate and discussion, is that the black side of The Rock is very seldom mentioned. In fact, the closest you ever came to talking about it was when he was in the Nation of Domination. So what's interesting about that is it's been an ongoing debate throughout wrestling, is whenever they used to complain that WWE didn't have any black world champions or there were no black men holding the world title. And I'm like, dude, The Rock's been champion like 10 times. And they go, oh, well, that doesn't count because he's half Samoan, which I always thought was fucking stupid, because I remember when Barack Obama became the president of the United States, everybody droned on and on about how he was the first black president. Meanwhile, he's half white. But that's something they never mention in the media. He has a black father who's Kenyan, and he has a white mother. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I have nothing against interracial dating. I've done my fair share of interracial dating in my lifetime. But I'm just saying he never mentioned the white side of his heritage. You never heard about his mom. I don't think anybody's ever seen his mom. It was just something that was brought up on occasion. But they always embrace the black side of Barack Obama and tend to ignore the white. And I've noticed with The Rock, they embrace the Samoan side and tend to ignore the black. And I could be upset about this, but I'm not. This is just something I'm noticing, because I can't be upset about it because I would be a hypocrite, because I'm half Italian and half Irish, and I tend to talk more about the Italian side than I do the Irish side. In fact, I've only met the Irish side of my family on a few occasions throughout my life. In fact, the last time I saw them was when we were burying my grandmother on my mother's side. We obviously talked with that side of the family a lot during the funeral service, but I haven't spoken to anybody from that side of the family since. And I don't think I really met them before that. I might have been younger when I was even around that side of the family. So I would be a hypocrite if I got mad at them for not embracing the other side. I just find it hilarious. And also, for the record, I'll say this one time. If Barack Obama can be half black and half white and still be recognized as the first black president, The Rock can be Samoan and black and still be recognized as a black world champion. Plain and simple. But anyway, that's enough ranting from me. Let's sit back and enjoy this latest edition of the WWE 2K25 Showcase Journey.
In a family of elite combat athletes and top-tier performers, the final boss has always stood out, even when he was just a blue chipper. But there wouldn't be a final boss, there wouldn't even be a bloodline, if it wasn't for The Rock's grandfather, the High Chief Peter Maivia. You can think of him as the first boss, predecessor to the tribal chief.
He is one of, if not the foundation for our family. The Wwe 2K25 Maivia wrestling dynasty. I don't think there's anybody more responsible for what's going on now than the High Chief himself.
Peter Maivia isn't simply one of the two principals behind the sacred blood bond. He's also an incredibly decorated professional wrestler who traveled the world and won titles everywhere he went. New Zealand, Japan, Europe, and here in the United States, where he enjoyed especially successful runs in Hawaii and California. Maivia would eventually find his way to WWE, engaging in legendary battles with the likes of superstar Billy Graham. His larger-than-life personality would win the WWE Universe over in short order, as it had throughout his entire career. In the ring, High Chief Peter Maivia was a potent blend of brawn and grappling technique, often muscling his opponents down to the mat through a variety of joint locks and then switching to more painful holds once grounded. His sleeper hold and stump puller were both feared and renowned, and make no mistake about it, Maivia knew there was always more than one path to the ultimate victory. Out of the ring, High Chief Peter Maivia also ran one of the most successful wrestling promotions on the planet, Polynesian Pro Wrestling, based out of Hawaii, showing his mastery of the business in every aspect. His induction into WWE's Hall of Fame class of 2008 was supremely deserved, forever enshrining Peter Maivia as the legend he always was. And now, we present to you the opportunity to walk in the boots of the legendary High Chief Peter Maivia, facing off against one of the most legendary WWE rivals, George the Animal Steele. You will settle this score once and forever, and showcase the overwhelming strength of Peter Maivia, which has ever since remained as a hallmark for every single solitary member of this bloodline. Steele is no easy battle, though. He thrives in the chaos, one of pro wrestling's true madmen. He'll even try to eat part of the ring if he thinks it'll help him break you down. So do your best and honor High Chief Peter Maivia properly with a resounding victory.
Steel cage match underway. Peter Maivia versus...
Okay. So your generals will pound to fight the Seal. Put it together with a strike to grapple grab combo and keep things rolling along. Just end your combo with circle to do that. Okay. So we're playing as the High Chief Peter Maivia. Never done that before. And yeah, he's the grandfather of The Rock, for those who don't know, and obviously he was the High Chief, which is interesting because now currently The Rock has technically been labeled a High Chief in the Samoan community. So while Roman Reigns is a tribal chief, The Rock is a High Chief. So technically he's a member of the elders in the tribe. That's the interesting thing there. So while Roman Reigns was telling The Rock, acknowledge me, he goes, yeah, I'll acknowledge you as my tribal chief, but just know I'm the High Chief. The Rock is ranked higher than Roman Reigns. That's why Rock was kind of taking the lead. Because really, in the Samoan tribe, he is a lead. Like, yes, Roman being the tribal chief, he's in charge of the tribe. So it's kind of like there's a manager, but then there's a supervisor, and then there's a higher up from that. So that's kind of how it goes. You have a manager who manages the team day to day. But when a supervisor shows up, even the manager's like, yes, sir, or yes, ma'am, depending on whether the supervisor's a man or a woman. I've had supervisors that were both. So, and by both, I mean like one's a man and one's... I've had supervisors that were men and supervisors that were women on separate occasions. I don't mean no hermaphrodites, no trans shit. I'm not talking about that. But anyway, let's give it the match.
George the Animal Steele. Most of the matches between Peter Maivia and George Steele have ended inconclusively.
Jesus.
But this time, we'll have a
All right. George is getting a little bit of offense on me.
He's a man of great pride and respect for the ring, while Steele is Well, he's an animal.
Damn it.
I can't think of two opponents with more opposing styles.
You said it, Corey. Let's just hope this one gets taken care of in the ring tonight.
Oh!
The High Chief Peter Maivia really making a name for himself at WWE, but he's had plenty of experience on the way up.
Plenty of championships on the West Coast, but he's made the biggest splash in Hawaii, where he earned multiple tag team titles.
Oh, yeah. And a quick pin attempt. And an easy kick out.
Love the confidence, but it's a little early for that.
Oh, he timed that counter well.
Momentum going back to Peter Maivia's corner. Yeah, Maivia's survival instincts are taking over.
Down with a suplex.
Oof. Really just laying it in.
Jesus.
Oh, man. George the Animal Steele might be a bit of an underdog here. In fact, he lost the match by countout to the High Chief.
Finally, I got some counters here.
Steele's defense,
Jesus
I'm
Christ,
not
this
sure he
guy's
knows how to count
difficult.
exactly, or how to read a rule book. So he's got to be happy to be in this cage. Well, Maivia's called the High Chief in part because of his commanding presence in the ring. He's more than ready for what the animal will throw at him, even inside a cage. Running power slam! Headbutt.
Ooh, hard into the turnbuckle. Down to the mat. When a man like Peter Maivia signs up for a match with the animal, he doesn't know what to expect, just to expect anything in the world.
Peter Maivia knows full well that he's in for some unusual treatment tonight. In fact, Steele often has trouble finding opponents due to his erratic nature.
But when it comes to competition, the High Chief wants to prove he's worthy of that name. Peter Maivia will take on any competitor, no matter the difficulty.
Peter Maivia is looking unstoppable now.
And you can see Steele is struggling to weather the storm of the High Chief.
Oh, goodness. Blasted right into the corner. Ooh.
Ooh!
Saw what was coming and got it dodged quick.
Peter Maivia, very tough, but he also has movie star good looks. Quite the combo.
And it served him well, Michael. In fact, the High Chief has major acting and stunt work credits to his name. And who knows, maybe we'll see the Maivia name on Hollywood billboards again sometime.
Well, before any of that happens, the High Chief needs to survive this war against the animal.
Two very opposing styles in every sense of the word, Corey. High Chief Maivia is a much more physically gifted and talented athlete in the ring than Steele. What's it going to take for the animal to get the upper hand here?
Well, he's got to be even more chaotic than ever inside this cage. Nothing about Steele makes sense to someone as traditional as Maivia. There's never any telling what the animal's going to do in a match, and he needs to keep it that way.
Mistake made by Steele. Gentlemen, we've touched on the differences between Maivia and Steele's competitors. One man based on order, the other on chaos, but it's reflected in their looks, too.
Indeed, Michael. Just look at the sculpted physique of the High Chief. And the tribal tattoos on his body are extremely intricate and definitely eye-catching.
And Steele is, well, he's an ugly creature. Enough hair on his upper torso to classify as fur.
Uh-oh, he could be looking for a submission here.
Hammerlock of pride. This is grueling. Look at the torque happening here.
It's like living in a tortured...
Able to punch his way out.
Big. We have a pin. Shoulders are down. He kicks out with force.
Where in the world does one find such strength at this stage to kick out that early in the count?
George the Animal Steele is not a wrestler by any stretch of the imagination, guys. He's a true brawler.
And he might be the best brawler in WWE, Michael. There is no shortage of fight in the animal.
But you know who might be a better brawler, guys? The High Chief Peter Maivia. When you consider that Maivia is also an excellent high flyer and a great technician, well, you can see why the High Chief is the favorite in this match, even with the steel cage stipulation.
Steel cage his biggest rivals, no less.
Yeah.
End your combo with a circle. Let me see the combo screen. Punch, X, grab. Oh, okay. So the third one is the grab. Okay. Punch, punch, grab. Oh, and he countered it, that motherfucker!
The ref not even getting to one.
I was not expecting that from him at this point.
Focusing their attack on the arm and countered with a knuckle sandwich.
Shot to the chest.
This son of a bitch.
Down, head over heels. Peter Maivia now with the upper hand.
Yeah, and Maivia has really figured the animal out here.
1,
Some folks
2.
call Peter Maivia the Flying Hawaiian, and the reasons are obvious for that moniker.
There we go.
How does he earn the other
Now, when the opportunity presents itself, hit Steele with your signature Samoan drop.
nickname of the High Chief?
Well, Cole, Peter Maivia is very close to the Anawai family. In fact, Peter's considered a blood brother to the patriarch of that clan.
When you add on the fact that Maivia was born and raised in Samoa, you can see the great pride he has for that land and its people in the tribal ink that covers his body.
This is not looking good for him.
And I don't see Peter Maivia slowing down anytime soon. An unprotected shot to the head. Those could add up. Jarring European uppercut. Oh my gosh! Maivia just dominated the animal with that one.
Oh, wait, hold on. The animal's really. Now connect with your finisher in the next 90 seconds and look to end this rivalry in your favor.
Ooh. Big punch finds its mark.
Peter Maivia turns that around.
George is tied up here. Snap you in half. Is it enough? Is it enough for Peter Maivia?
Oh, not yet. They just got the shoulder up.
I don't know how he just kicked out, and I'll tell you what, I don't really think he knows either.
Just dished out his most devastating offense, and you got to be wondering if he's thinking what
Set up for a second time.
Oh, what a backbreaker.
Man, just ugly impact. No way Steele's coming back from that.
Oh, he kicked out.
You gotta be kidding me!
Surviving that maneuver is absolutely amazing.
He was stunned. How the hell does he kick out?
The WWE Universe thought it was over. But
He's looking for yet another exclamation mark.
backbreaker.
Again, going for the biggest attack possible.
How is he kicking out?
He's taking some serious hurt, but somehow he's still in this.
I think he managed that kick out on pure instinct alone.
Hey, it might be time for a change of strategy. His best move didn't get the job done.
Looking to keep steady, keep balanced.
Taking off up the wall, the cage now.
Oh, god damn it.
Watch out! Momentum is all with Maivia now.
Can Steele recover from
This motherfucker keeps getting up. What kind of resiliency does this motherfucker have to keep doing this crap?
Scoop slam.
He's looking to climb the steel cage now.
Have to dig deep if you want to reach the top of the cage.
Here he is. He made it to the top of the cage. And all he has to do is finish getting over the top of the cage, and he's home free.
Oh, he's almost there.
He better move.
And the high
Yes!
Chief defeats the animal.
Whew. That was tough.
Here is your winner,
Anytime these two have faced off, it's been eye for an eye. But the steel cage has finally delivered a decisive victory for the High Chief, Peter Maivia.
George Steele is one tough animal, but the way Maivia faced him in the cage tonight just reinforced what everyone already knew, that the High Chief is one tough Samoan.
Yep, that he is. Peter Maivia is one tough Samoan, but also not easy to play in this game. I mean, the controls were not user-friendly on this one. It's one of those things where when it comes to the legends, the more higher up they are as far as like older legends, the more complicated the controls get, because they give them a lot of weird, fucked up moves, mostly because they can't remember the type of moves that wrestler did back in the day, or they did moves they can't really correspond into the video game for whatever reason. So you get a lot of awkward shit with the older legends in the game. I found that out. They give them complicated move sets, and then the wrestlers we do know, the wrestlers that are current, they have their actual move sets, and they're easier to manipulate and control and help you win the match. So playing as Peter Maivia was not easy. George the Animal Steele was definitely a pain in the ass, but I persevered, I survived, and I made it through. So I hope you guys enjoyed this latest edition of the 2K25 Showcase Journey. Make sure you guys follow us on all of our podcast platforms. Links are down in the description box below. Follow us on our social media platforms. The links will be down in the description box below. And of course, as always, hit the subscribe button and ring that bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of the WWE 2K25 Showcase Journey, as well as other additional Boochcast YouTube content. We'll have another one for you tomorrow. Until then, pizza, baby!